My name is Richard Pack. I'm a professor in the Department of Psychology at Clemson University, and I'm the director of the Cognition, Aging, and Technology Laboratory, and the director of the Human Factors Institute. So I have a degree in, I have a PhD in engineering psychology. That's the old-timey term for human factors. And when I was in graduate school, I really didn't think or want to be a professor. I wanted to work in a research setting in industry or government. But I went on a job interview about 15 years ago at Clemson, and I just loved it, and I've loved it since then. So I've been at Clemson for 15 years. So my research area is generally in the area of the psychological factors surrounding the use of autonomous systems. And so engineers might focus on the design of the autonomous system, making it more autonomous, using advanced AI algorithms, that kind of thing. And I focus more on the human side. So what is it about the human that makes some people successfully use AI or autonomous systems and others not? And by autonomous systems, I focus mainly on the theoretical aspects. So I don't focus on robots or self-driving cars, but those are just examples of autonomous systems. My degree is in human factors, but my sub-discipline that I was trained in was in something called cognitive aging, which is just basically how the mind changes as we get older, things like memory and attention. And so occasionally, aging topics weave their way into my current research topics. So for example, one thing I'm interested in is there seems to be age differences in how younger and older adults react to and perform with autonomous systems. One project that we're working on with one of my grad students is looking at how sort of the intersection between individual differences, aging, and automation. And so one thing that we're finding is that, as practitioners, we really want to figure out why is it that some people can successfully use automation and other people cannot? Or why is it that some people trust automation and some people do not? What are the factors that distinguish that? And so, you can say aging is one of them, but that's not particularly informative. You want to go a little bit deeper. And so one thing that we're looking at is differences in a cognitive factor called attentional control. It's a very basic factor. And so do age-related differences in attentional control contribute to the differences that we see in automation? So the Cognition, Aging, and Technology Laboratory is actually spread across 2 floors. The first floor, which is actually the 4th floor, is where the graduate students hang out. They have their offices there. And the first floor, which is on the ground floor, is actually where we run subjects. So we have that set up so that we can run 6 people in semi-isolated conditions. But nowadays, a lot of our research is happening online because the kind of research I do, I don't need particularly specialized equipment. I just need software, and a lot of that can be moved online. So I'm usually working with between 3 and 5 graduate students. I currently have 5 in various stages of completion. 5 is probably the max that I would work with that I can sort of handle at once. What's typical is 3 to 4 in various stages of completion. Some working on their dissertation, others who are first-year students. So my advising style is really tailored to the individual student. I find that some students need a little bit more support than others, but in general, my advising style tends to be when students first join the lab, they get a lot of attention. The word micromanaging is used in a negative context, but students often need that to sort of figure out how things are done. And then fairly quickly, I hand off or I bring in the other students to help advise junior students. So there's a lot of knowledge in students who've been around, and so they can help the younger students. And then as students get progress through the program, they become independent researchers. So there's very little advising on my part, except for reminding them about deadlines. So what I'm looking for in new graduate students is not I'm not looking for a particular knowledge base or particular expertise, so the student doesn't have to know how to program or anything like that or have specialized knowledge, just an awareness of how research is done and an excitement level. So some level of excitement about doing research. They might not want to do it as a career, but they know about it. They know what they're walking into. The second thing is probably students that are self-motivated to some extent. So that's something that you can definitely develop as you go along, but students who just sort of sit back and wait to be told to do things, um, it, it doesn't really work out well in graduate school or in the workforce. Students who are self-motivated and directed and seek out sort of opportunities and challenges. The students that have done well after leaving the program are again, ones that are who seek out challenges and opportunities to learn and add to their expertise and knowledge base. That's really all it boils down to is a willingness to learn and to get things done on their own and not be told what to do. Whether they're in graduate school or whether they're in the workforce, their boss is doing a ton of other things, right? And so they can't be micromanaged all the time. Students who can sort of figure out what needs to be done and then do it on their own, whether it's correct or incorrect, at least they tried. That's sort of probably the personality factor that I see is common in the students who've gone on to be really successful. So because of the nature of our program, most of the students that graduate tend to go into industry. And so when they graduate with a PhD, they usually go into a situation where they're working in sort of the research arm of a company, or they might become high-level program managers. But the vast majority of them have gone on into some form of industry. I think my particular advising style, which forces the student to sort of figure out what needs to be done next, it has been particularly useful in industry where, in a workplace setting where goals might be hazy, timelines might be fuzzy and move around, and you really have to take control of your own project and also report and be aware of your own progress. So a lot of self-awareness is required. So when it comes to getting jobs after graduation, that's actually one area that I'm heavily involved in, or I try to be heavily involved in. Um, a lot of my friends who were in my cohort in graduate school are actually now in industry. And so I try to connect them to good students, whether they're my students or students from Clemson. Tapping into that network is very useful, and it's been useful for my previous students.